Here. What's up, chat? Happy Monday, January 17th, 2022. Happy MLK Day. We have got all day basketball in the midst of it, in the cut, in the thick of it right now. A couple of games going on, a couple more we'll tip while I'm live. Kyle Kuzma just yammed on Joel Embiid. Twitter is losing its mind. That regression is hitting Kuzma hard, isn't it? I'll tell you what. What's up, chat? Shout out to William Lewis. Justin Brooks. Snowed up here in the NY. Yeah, I see a lot of snow up north in the east side too. I've seen a lot of that on Facebook today, Twitter. So stay warm, stay safe. Don't leave the house if you don't got to, and all that other good stuff. What up, Luke, Jay Smooth, Skimmer, Quinn, Dion? What's the plays? That's my Dion impression. What up, Obi-Wan? Willie McGuire. Lineups have been all bust the past week. Let's get something good. Man, I went nuts on PrizePicks over the weekend, and really for DFS as well. Did not have Gio Bernard and Jerick McKinnon in a lineup yesterday for Millie Maker's sake, but the props have been hitting. Literally the only prop I missed this weekend so far was I had Jalen Hurts over like 45.5 yards, and he only had like 40 something. Hit everything else. I'm falling in love with props. Got a few more props tonight, hanging on a couple other tickets. Maybe we'll talk some more props throughout this stream. There is going to be a prop-based piece of content coming on this channel this week. I think we're going to drop it Wednesday. I thought about trying to get a pilot episode out today, but just didn't have the time, and the board was not like that great. So maybe look around for Wednesday, a little prop show. I will probably just start doing it live, pre-packaging, VODs, editing, all that stuff. Like it's an inefficient use of time when we can just flip a switch, do it live, and then so if that does happen, look for that to be like an earlier thing, maybe a 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern thing, and then we would still be doing this stream at 3 p.m. Eastern. So a little bit of a double dipping to further complement our already PrizePicks journey, but a lot of you guys opening up with your sports books and all that good stuff. So the content has to evolve. Mia Moore in chat. Luke says Horford, McGee, and Latako looking good on DraftKings. You can definitely get behind that. What up, Fish fan? It was a great price picks weekend. Yeah, Quinn, it really was. I got a couple. I fired a couple shots that will be live throughout this stream. And then, of course, I'll be making more for later tonight in the Discord. I still like, if you guys are just looking for random stuff to attach to your props early on for prize picks, I still like Zach Ertz over 5 receptions, and I still dig Kyler Murray over 35.5 rushing yards. So, the only thing is, you can't bet those two alone. You have to have something else in there. So, if you're looking for something to attach to and you want to get some football action, go for that. I'm looking forward to tonight's football game too. Hoping my boy Odell grab him a dub. We'll see. But football was really fun yesterday, over the weekend as well. And then I didn't get too much NBA action yesterday. I didn't get to any NBA action yesterday, but I did a lot of football. So trying to enjoy that while we still have it. Only a couple more weeks of that, and this is the nitty gritty, man. Shout out to the Bills and the Chiefs for putting up some fun offensive viewing, and then hopefully next week they will have an arena football game-esque score that would just be so much fun to soak up and watch. How'd you guys do over the weekend? You guys do all right? We haven't streamed on this channel since Friday, so there's a lot of catching up to. I saw some UFC came back, a lot of golf sweat going on. So it's a very, very busy time of year right now for sports. So hopefully you guys did all right. Let me know any big hits in chat. Share it with the class. We saw, like I said, in the Discord, plenty of prize picks hits yesterday. A lot of 10xing going on. But hopefully you guys hitting other sports as well. I think we did see Nakrizi yesterday in NBA flip massive ROI in some NBA tournaments last night. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. That Williams situation had me mad, man. The Darrell Williams thing, yeah. I mean, obviously we knew like there was something there because he was questionable going into the game. But when they activated him, I just assumed he was fine. And then he was limited, right? We were seeing Derek Orr getting snaps. We see Jerick McKinnon getting snaps. And then one of the few snaps Williams got, he fumbled, and it led to that T.J. Watt touchdown. So I was like, yeah, this is probably not the move. So that sucks, man. It'd be like that, though, right? What up, Matt? So those 5-5 off. I actually didn't run any 5. I was doing a lot of 4 powers. I really need to do five flexes, but I was trying to get to a lot of 10x, but I was rotating the 10x and the 10x's. It was really good. Cup's about to eat tonight. Yeah, Cooper Cup should thrive. They also have some good first half prices up on PrizePicks, which I don't mind attacking those for more neutral game script scenarios, right? And then we play the second half for game script as well. The only thing about second half props I noticed yesterday is they changed so much, and they changed so dramatically. Like there was a point yesterday I was trying to get. They had Jerick McKinnon listed second half rushing. It was either 25. I think it was 25. Then I went to bet it, and next thing you know, it's 35. I was like, F it, I'll try that again. And then it goes up to like 40. So I just ended up not using it, which it turned out to be the right move. But yeah, what are you gonna do? But we had a second half in game 4 picker on prize picks yesterday. It was Mahomes, Kelsey, and Ben and Deontay. Ben threw a touchdown to Deontay to cover that. Mahomes threw a touchdown to Tyreek Hill, and Kelsey needed like 3 points to get there. And Kelsey throws a touchdown to get me there. So by hook or by crook, we did it to flip another 10x on the second half. So that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun yesterday. Nice little laid back today. Tomorrow's going to be laid back too. Just 2 games. There might actually not even be a stream tomorrow. So we'll try and soak up as much as we can tonight. Recharge tomorrow. And then Wednesday's another big slate. And like I said, Wednesday I'm planning to launch that prop show. And then we'll have another live stream. Hopefully I'll have a co-host on that live stream. But yeah, Fox got ejected. Cost me $700. I did see that because Halliburton was out, right? Yeah, Fox getting the old heave ho, not what you wanted. Obi said won 300 on Yahoo. Let's go. What up, J. Cole? My poor girl, y'all. She There's a Cowboys fan. Oh man, the end of that Cowboy. I tell you, nobody loses in the playoffs quite like the Cowboys do, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean just like you think about the Dez caught it, the Dak quarterback draw with no timeouts, which was already crazy. But then like what? Willie spike it, and the referee literally like oh my god. Nobody loses like the Cowboys in the playoffs, so we're gonna be dealing with that for some time around here. Oof. Oof. Hopefully, some of you guys still got some dogs in the hunt. Like I said, I've latched on to the Rams bandwagon. Me and my boy Odell Beckham trying to finish some unfinished business. Nova says I love snow, but all I feel is pain. 3 hours of shoveling. I had somebody on my Facebook earlier. I was reading. He said he shoveled his driveway for hours and didn't like. He said he didn't even make a dent. It just like kept coming down. So he just said, "F it, not going to work." This is so good. Such an awful decision. It was not. It was not great. When he did it, I was screaming, and I'm not even. I'm definitely not a Cowboys fan. I was like, "This is the dumbest play possible. What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then I thought he was gonna get it off, and then I was like, "Wait, do the chains move on a first down? The clock stops while the chains move. You know what I mean?" Like, I was thinking, like, what are they thinking that I'm not? Then I was like, no, it's Mike McCarthy. They weren't really thinking. And then, like even before that, where they did the fake punt just to like result in a field goal, like what are we doing here? The analytics side of my brain was like losing its mind. Nick Toping, let's go Niners. Good luck to the Niners out there. Niners try to give it up, right? They try to give them the game. What's going on right now in basketball? We saw the Celtics put away the Pelicans by 12. The Hornets putting away the Knicks right now. Miles Bridges, 38 real points, 68 fantasy points. So I'm just going to go on a limb and say that he was the guy that you needed to have. I did catch some of that LaMelo Ball active, but not starting. And then he ended up not playing at all. So I don't know if there was like injury management or disciplinary or what's going on there. But I guess if anybody had someone LaMelo on that slate, that sounds like that would have been annoying. RJ Barrett, 18 real points for the Knicks, 12 rebounds. Julius Randle, 18 and 10. 39 minutes for Barrett. Barrett's been kind of putting together a big scoring stretch here. We'll see if he keeps that up whenever Cam Reddish can play. And then for the rest of the afternoon stuff, right now Brooklyn and Cleveland just tipped off. If you guys want to sweat for me while I'm live, I'm looking for Kyrie Irving, 23 real points. I'm looking for Darius Garland to get like 40 fantasy points for Fanduel. I'm looking for 37 fantasy points for Jaron Allen, and then I'm looking for LaMarcus Aldridge to get under like 21. I was hoping he would cross up with like Evan Mobley a little bit. He didn't even start, so I guess that's a good sign. So keep an eye on that. And right now, Washington leads Sixers 61-55 at half. We've got, depending on what site you're playing, a 5 or 6 game main slate. FanDuel left the Bucks and Hawks game on. DraftKings did not, so DraftKings is going to be normal lock time. But on FanDuel, you make your decisions about what you want out of Hawks and Milwaukee. And you can chill around, late swap into what you need. We got a little bit of news that did drop, so we'll try and get caught up on that. But for the most part, pretty tame overall. So let's open up. Let's open up the screen. This stream, as always, brought to you by RunDFS.com. That's the place where we don't just play DFS, we run DFS. If you guys want to join a very tight-knit family of grinders at all different bankroll levels, all different play types and play sites, whether it be prop betting on PrizePicks or Yahoo, FanDuel, DraftKings, there's somebody in there grinding everything. And we've added to the team, man. My boy Luke is hooking it up. I saw he did an NFL stream earlier today to help some cats out. So that is awesome. We did a dual piece of content Friday night. Hopefully we can run it back this weekend. Maybe this Friday again, and then Luke's golf stuff is pretty legit as well. So a little extra value in the community itself. But in terms of professional coverage from what I can guarantee and advertise, we have NBA, NFL, and baseball. And then NASCAR's in a couple weeks, right? Daytona 500 next month. And then in that community, they're also grinding, like I said, golf, esports, tennis, man. They're getting it in. So fun community to join. Get in that Discord, premium Discord, every day before lock. We're in the pre-lock NBA voice chat. You guys are more than welcome to join in on that one. Grab a mic, say "yeah," say what's up, or just listen in, type in chat, whatever you're most comfortable with, or don't even do anything. Just open up the spreadsheet, and in that spreadsheet, I'll draw out my personal player pool, favorite plays, some notes, stuff like that. So let's get caught up with some news here. Going to Underdog NBA Twitter. Nothing major. LeBron James is always probable with that abdominal. Bam Adebayo questionable. Gary Trent Jr. questionable. And Norman Powell questionable. We do know that CJ McCollum's back. We don't know in what capacity in terms of minute expectations. So if you guys do see a quote or a blurb on that, please shout it out. And then it looks like Steven Adams is in for that Grizzlies game. It's not on the slate, but that was something I was looking for because I was trying to shop some picks from that. I was curious with like Brandon Clark under. And then Levert is starting at point guard for the Pacers if you're playing that slate with Torrey Craig in the lineup. No Miles Turner there. And then Dwayne Washington looks like he started as shooting guard. So really interesting and unique lineup there. And that might be, I don't know if that's attached to any news, but I was literally just looking and reading about what the Pacers wanted for Miles Turner. So I don't know if we got like a Melo situation where he's not active or not starting, or he is active and not starting. But that's a huge bit of news for that lineup if you are playing that slate. So if you are, make sure you don't have Miles Turner if you don't want that type of risk attached. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home.
Let's go home. Let's go home. Yeah, R R R R R R R R R R R R R R R R R R R R R R R.
I don't think that went the way you thought it would. R. Yo, what up, Patrick? What up, Mundus World? What up, Brody? How the heck did Alec Burks get 12 Fanduel points? Oh, that's tough. What up, King Conte? Yeah. What up, Kegs? Live show only $39.99. What does that even mean, bro? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't think that had the result that he intended. Anyway, you guys want to talk some basketball? Let's talk some basketball. Milwaukee Bucks at the Atlanta Hawks. First game on the Fanduel docket. You DraftKingers, wait around, hit that thumbs up if you haven't. Maybe share the stream. But if you're playing on Fanduel or on PrizePicks, Bucks at the Hawks. I do have a PrizePicks play from this game that I don't mind. Project starting five for the Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Grayson Allen, Wesley Matthews, Chris Middleton, and Bobby Portis taking on Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, and John Collins, and Gorgie Zhang. We got Bogdanovich out for the Hawks, Clint Capella out for the Hawks, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez out for the Bucks. A 231 total, 5.5 point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. Atlanta trying to get a win at home, right? It's been a minute. And this is not the best matchup in the world to get to try and overcome that obstacle. But I can game script and game theory my way into a lot of this for DFS. But one of the plays I was looking at, I was researching earlier for PrizePicks, was Trae Young on the board. If you guys want to follow along here, Trae Young has a 3-point made prop at 2.5. He leads the Hawks in 3-point attempts per game, and 2 of the top 4 3-point shooters for the Hawks are not in this game. Bogdanovich out, Cam Reddish traded. So we know that the Bucks, if you look at their 3-pointers allowed per game. They give up the second most in the league per game. So I felt like 2.5 threes for Trae Young might be very, very attainable in this spot. So if you like that one, maybe jot it down, throw it in your prize picks mixes. But from a DFS standpoint, Giannis Antetokounmpo, likely a strong shot at being a top 3 fantasy point scorer on the slate, and always has a great shot at being number one. If I go to my early player projections and sort from greatest to least Fanduel projected scorers, Giannis Antetokounmpo leads LeBron and Luka by a wide margin, 7 to 10 fantasy points on Fanduel. So no reason not to get behind some Giannis Antetokounmpo today. Obviously, without Drew Holiday, is a better plus, more ball handling for Giannis. If I go pull up Milwaukee here, put it in perspective, I believe Giannis is averaging something like 1.7 fantasy points per minute without Drew Holiday. So that's more reason to get behind some Giannis Antetokounmpo hope. I don't mind from a FanDuel perspective. That's why you have the game, right? You have that game to play some Giannis. Giannis is averaging 1.74 FanDuel points per minute. So if you believe in this 5.5 point spread, you believe in the propensity of this game staying close and Giannis playing 35 minutes, then you should believe in 60 plus fantasy points for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I do. Chris Middleton also on the board here at 8,300 and Bobby Portis 6,300. That price, they just don't want to change it. They don't want to adjust it. And it's usually going to give you a strong shot at 40 plus fantasy points, but 30 plus, mid 30s on a medium slate like this is something I would happily take. And him being power forward eligible is ultra convenient. And then if we look at that split, Chris Middleton averaging over a FanDuel fantasy point per minute, 1.16 to be exact. He has a 30.5% assist rate and a 23% usage rate. So a good little handcuff to Giannis. And then sometimes Giannis has a habit of getting to early foul trouble, and then you get some staggered minutes where Chris Middleton really absolves a lot of usage while on the court. Grayson Allen back for the Milwaukee Bucks. We have seen decent minutes out of him, 27 plus in 4 straight games. And in those games, double-digit shot attempts, a lot of 10 plus real point games. I don't know what his point prop is. Is it at 10? If it's at 10, we might be curious with the over in this spot. Grayson Allen is at 10.5. So 10.5 real points for Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen also seems pretty attainable. So a lot to like through and through for the Bucks. You could sell me on a podium of Giannis, Portis, Middleton points per dollar. And then if I threw in some Grayson Allen just to diversify a little bit, get a little more value. Makes a lot of sense. Trae Young's my favorite run back option here. But like I said, if we're targeting 3-point shooters, I mentioned 2 of the top 4 not in the mix for the Hawks here. Trae Young's number 1. The other guy in that top 4 is Kevin Huerter. He's 5,400 on FanDuel. Got it for about 30 minutes. He's going to be somebody that I need to score more real points than peripherals to get him at a ceiling worth having at this price point. But it's viable. And then John Collins shipping a chair, but I'm not running to that. So I'm basically focusing on Trae Young at 9,600, looking for 50 plus fantasy points and plenty of positive correlation with putting Trae versus Giannis in a lineup and plenty of value on the rest of the slate to kind of make it happen. Danilo Gallinari, as long as we continue to get games without Clint Capella, you can draw together several scenarios for the front court for the Atlanta Hawks, and then potential value in those scenarios. I think Gallinari is somebody that we should probably look at and vet. Last game against the Knicks, 27 minutes. The game prior against the Heat, he played 34 minutes. So looks like he's got a real chance at 25 plus minutes, and coming in at 4,400 on FanDuel. Looking for 25 plus fantasy points in most tournaments to be live. And I think that price point in this matchup absolutely could put him in the mix for me. Again, not a core value, nothing like that, but I think he's in play for me at that price point. DeAndre Hunter's 4,400. We saw a little bit cheaper price point for him on DraftKings the other day. Elevated ownership. I'm not really running to 44. I like the thought of Gallinari maybe leading the usage in the second unit based on this split. So that's what I've got on this one. What are you guys thinking here? Anything crazy, anything special? Doesn't look like it. A lot of R's. What up, Dang Lazy Mofo? What up, Josh Plays? Tony Romo over Dak Prescott? You think so? I've grown to like Romo. When I was an unashamed Giants fan back in my younger years, I've been reformed. I didn't really care for I hated the Cowboys. And I hated Romo. But listen to Romo in the booth, man. He's got an infectious love of the game when he talks. He's so excited. And even if you watch that game yesterday where the Niners had the ball on the other side of the field with like a minute left on the clock, Romo never gave up on the thought of that game not being done. And I don't know, I just love his love. I love his love for the game. So I've grown to like Romo. Blazers at the Magic. Next game on the docket. Project starting five for the Blazers. Anthony Simons, CJ McCollum, Norman Powell, Robert Covington, and Yusuf Nurkic taking on Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Chuma Okeke, and Mo Bamba. He's got Hose calling 218.5 total 2-point spread. Let me see. NBC Roto World depth chart. Let me get some news here on the Magic. We've had a stretch of games where Mo Bamba missed, Wendell Carter was out, and then of course we know what the Blazers have been dealing with their injuries. They've had a long stretch without McCollum, without Lillard, without Norman Powell. So we are going to maybe have to read between the lines here, maybe wonder if some price points are overcorrected, inefficient. I want to get caught up on the Magic news here, so I'm going to be using NBC Sports Edge's depth chart page. They do a good job of listing news blurb. So let's pull up the Magic. Wendell Carter Jr. left hamstring's been ruled out. Looks like Mamba's a go. And then let's go pull up Portland. Ellaby's doubtful. Norman Powell questionable. Health and safety protocols. So we'll see if he gets cleared. And then we know the other cats, Nance and Zeller, all those guys are out. So I think the big question mark with this game is what kind of minutes can we expect from CJ McCollum coming off of an extended stretch where he was out due to a collapsed lung? And I'm not a doctor, but it certainly feels like an injury that you might want to be tentative with building back up. And if that's the case, even if McCollum was only going to get to like 30 minutes, considering his history, like his usage rate being what it is, but also his upside from the past in this split, also coming from playing 37, 38 minutes, 40 minutes. Feel like if you don't believe that 40 minutes or even 35 to 38 minutes is what's going to happen today, you think it's closer to 30 below, I'm not that interested in this game. It's going to be two of the slower paced teams. The total's still nice because both teams really lack a lot on defense, but I obviously I can't get to AK Anthony Simons because 20 minutes of McCollum might nerf his floor to ceiling. If Norman Powell's back with McCollum, Simons just seems like I wouldn't be able to even consider him. The only guy I feel like I would still be able to get to with some level of confidence is Yusuf Nurkic, right? He's not going to lose his role, and there's still no Larry Nance, Cody Zeller, so the depth behind him is not what it was or what they want it to be. So I think Nurkic is really the only guy I'm looking at and vetting for the Blazers side, unless Chauncey Billups can put something out there that would make me feel better about McCollum's minutes today. You guys got a different tell or different information on McCollum, please share it. But right now I'm leaning on just Nurkic here. I'm getting the OK projection back on Nurkic, 7,500 on FanDuel, looking at nearly 50 fantasy points in that split. And then running it back here on the Magic. Magic don't find himself in a lot of competitive games more often than not. Just a 2-point spread here. So we might be able to bake a consistent path to 30 minutes for a couple of guys. The only guys I feel the best about almost day to day is Franz Wagner. I like taking some tournament shots on Cole Anthony here and there. And then Mo Bamba feels like he's underpriced, all things considered, under 6K. There's been times where I've been fine at getting to close to 7K. But Bamba, kind of like McCollum, you got to wonder what kind of minutes we might expect from him. Actually, this is the showdown for the Bucks. I can close that out. Let's open up his DK card, see if there's any blurb. Available off the bench for Saturday's game against the Mavericks. His missed past 2 games is frame right toe. All right, so he did come off the bench last game. I got him projected to start here. I wonder if that was a get your weight up now start situation? If so, maybe we can bring his minutes up a little bit more. If he still comes off the bench today, then maybe I keep his minutes where they're at 26 right now. I think as many times as we spin this game or simulate what might happen here, I think ultimately the guys I probably get to the most is going to be Cole Anthony, Franz Wagner, and Nurkic. I'm not running too much else here. Okeke has a little bit of meat on the bone at 4,600, but nothing that I'm too enthralled with considering how many people are back in the matchup. So I don't know. You guys have a different lean here. Jalen Suggs has been coming off the bench with limited minutes. As soon as he gets back into that starting lineup, then I really don't know what to do with these Magics because Suggs could take away from Cole Anthony's scoring. Let's go home.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home.
Could I have two cheap good plays except Blazers?
Two cheap good plays except Blazers. Yo, by the way, she read that with like human emotion. Like this thing's evolving. We're in trouble. Two cheap good plays except Blazers on Fanduel or DraftKings. So we'll just sort by value. We already talked about the first game, but just generally on the slate, who's projecting for value? JaVale McGee, obviously. DeAndre Ayton is rolled out. So McGee's probably going to draw a lot of ownership at a really attainable price point, though. We've seen his ceiling hit. If we still get to... I don't think we still got Pirtle out, right? We'll look at that. But I think JaVale McGee is going to be number one in that split for value. If we're really selling out for cheapness. And then I might have to circle back to give you a wing or a guard that's not somebody we've already talked about. I will say that I will talk about the Jazz game too in a bit, but nothing's come out about Mike Conley sitting tonight. And I did look at it. He did have a couple of back-to-backs in his game logs earlier, like literally like to start the season, but then they kind of staggered him out. So I was wondering about the potential of him resting tonight, but nothing's out there, and they've been pretty good about letting us know beforehand. So I'm assuming he's in, but just in case like something didn't come, like I don't know, something got lost in the translation. If there was a world where he sat tonight, maybe that would open up some potential value behind, like I don't know, Jordan Clarkson or something like that. That's all I got for this one. Cole Anthony, I think I don't want to bury him too much. I still think Cole Anthony has a ceiling worth getting to every now and then. But I think on this slate, it's probably something I wouldn't get more than tier 3 levels of exposure to from now. But Blazers is just Nurkic for me, you know. I didn't think Blazers had value, to be honest, Pat. Choked with a terrible game in Green Bay on the desk catch. Dallas was loaded. Romo trash. Come on, man. Oh, man. Troy Aikman over Romo over Dak. I mean... if we're going off of rings, yes, it has to be that, right? Romo did more with less. Romo was a gunslinger, man. A little underrated. A lot of injuries, but a little underrated. I don't hate it. Evolving AI is scary. Bro, she sounded like she had some, like, emotion in that voice. She's like, could I have, like, you know what I mean? Like, she changed octaves on me, man. It wasn't just monotonous, robotic. Raptors at the Miami Heat. Speaking of monotonous and robotic, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, taking on Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Jimmy G, Buckets, PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo, looking like he could be back. What we do know is Kyle Lowry's out. And that's going to create potentially an opportunity for some more minutes for a guy like Tyler Hero, 7+K. We're looking for 40+ fantasy points on that price point. And then just as a starting benefit in terms of usage and production, Jimmy Butler has a real shot at 9K to be a strong play, picking up some of that Lowry stuff. Not playing against his former team. The Raptors, really low total here. if you put this game on the board, I mean, we're dealing with some yuckness. The Miami Heat have the third lowest pace in all of basketball. The Raptors have the fourth lowest. So this could be a true 95-93 game. And I think the spread's kind of accounting for that. Both teams okay on defense, although the Heat might suffer a little bit. Although if they do get Adebayo back, even in limited minutes, he is one of the better center defenders or interior defenders in all of basketball. Let's get caught up on the Adebayo situation. See if we got a blurb that might be able to lean us into a path to minutes or even just what to expect. He's still with a right thumb. It was reported that Monday is the target date for Adebayo. He is officially listed as questionable for that game. If he's cleared to play, it remains to be seen if the All-Star center will be on a minutes restriction. If so, that would preserve Omer Yurtseven's fantasy value. Yeah, I would not play Yurtseven at 7K if Adebayo did play. A thumb thing, with thumbs, I'm not necessarily as worried about conditioning. I'm not in the man's business, but I assume the thumb injury didn't keep him off a treadmill or whatever. But I could see limited minutes still being a point of emphasis for the training staff's plan of bringing him back, just because he missed such a long stretch of time. So at 8K, I need 40 plus against the Raptors. Raptors and the Heat, both of those teams being so slow paced, and I think the Raptors, when they're full strength, play better defensively than maybe the season metrics will clue in. Right now, the season metrics suggest 110.2 points per 100 possessions, but think about the stretch that they had without Scotty Barnes, who's a really solid defender, without Siakam, without Anunoby. I think when you put them all together, I definitely think there's room for improvement on their season metrics to be a lot tighter. So I don't have a lot of high hopes here. I just think from a talent standpoint, you can create the case for Jimmy Butler. We're not worried about his minutes. We know his usage is going to be pretty strong. And then when it comes to the Raptors, we know their minutes are going to be ridiculous. I got Fred VanVleet at 40 minutes right now. Hey, man, 40 minutes against anyone is in play. Minutes equal money, right? OG Anunoby at under 7K on both sides, close to 6K on Fanduel. I'm looking for 30-plus fantasy points. So I think he's in play. Again, minutes making that happen for us. And then Siakam is in play because of the minutes, but I'd really like to see it against not Adebayo. I think Adebayo could be enough of a drawback to be a little bit annoying here. But I guess just from a minute standpoint, he's in play, and he has a shot for 50-plus fantasy points every now and then. Center only, 64, 46, 45, 58. You guys know the range of outcomes. I will say there's a lot of inferior teams that they've beat up on lately, but I do think if you're trying to get to an ugly spot here, I think the field might designate this as an ugly spot, even though there's plenty of viability in the minutes. Going to the Miami side here, let's go to Miami on-off court tool. I just want to put a number on Jimmy Butler's potential production today without Lowry on the court. I guess we'll do one without Lowry. I guess we'll just do it without Lowry. I was going to do one with Adebayo in the mix, but Jimmy Butler has a 29% usage rate in the split without Lowry, 1.32 Fanduel points per minute, 1.3 DK points per minute. So very easy to justify. If you're on Fanduel, I mean, that 9K seems like a down payment on Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I'd probably really rather get to Giannis, even if the raw points is just, a 20-point differential. I gotta really want that 20 points on a medium slate. So I don't think I would get to a ton of Jimmy in this split or in this spot on Fanduel. But on DraftKings, he's less than 9K, and you don't have the Giannis, the Trae Young, that whole game. So his scrappy 50 fantasy point game, which is a range of outcome here, would be a little bit more valuable to me. But early on, my projections don't love much from this one, considering the pace, the total, and the defensive metrics that I'm assuming for both teams. I don't have any 50s in this game, and I think the leader in this game for me on DraftKings points looks like it is Fred VanVleet. So VanVleet makes the most sense just because his path to success, the floor is a lot higher because of how many minutes he's playing. So that eases his path to success. So I do like VanVleet a little bit, but if I get to none of this game in 20 or less lineups, I wouldn't lose much sleep. Do you guys have any strong leans on this one? and then we'll talk about the Mavs and the Thunder. PrizePicks owns DraftKings and Fanduel. It's definitely trendy, man. It's getting a lot of steam. I did a lot of market research over the weekend since Friday. I did a PrizePicks centric video, or at least edited a PrizePicks video over the weekend where me and Luke talked about our favorite props, and that did like 500 clicks. And then I just kind of looked at the market, right? Checked out the Google Trends on player props for both sports. I do think the immediate future for most casual players is going to be not necessarily just PrizePicks, but prop betting, because New York did open up on sports betting. So a lot of people that are losing in DFS, where they can immediately blame, like, facing sharks, 150 liners, blah, blah, blah. I think they'll be looking to simplify their process and their action to still get that itch, right? Scratch that itch where you want some action and something to sweat without the work that DFS does. And then having some time to scout some of the content creators that are making prop content. Their process sells out in political speak. Their process is a little bit different and maybe a little bit more elementary, I would say, versus what we do. So I do think there's a edge to be had in that market, but also from a content creation standpoint, I believe I could offer a little bit more value than a good chunk of what else is out there. So I'm looking forward to tapping into that. But over the weekend, yes, sweating PrizePicks was a lot of fun. But I guess anything's fun if you win. So we'll see if the ebbs and flows catch up. Mavericks hosting the Thunder. Next game on the docket, projects 35 for the Thunder. SGA, Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, and Derek Favors taking on Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, Maxi Kleber. We got 210 total, 11.5 point spread in favor of the home team Dallas Mavericks. So on DraftKings, you think about the slate that does not have Giannis, does not have Trae Young. Luka Doncic probably projects as a top 2, top 3 fantasy point scorer. You could make the case for LeBron being up there as well. But Luka's put together a couple of strong games here. Did get his boy Porzingis back in the mix, and he is facing a beatable defense in the Oklahoma City Thunder. 38 fantasy points against the Magic last games, kind of a blowout, and they might have gave him the Harlem hook when him and Franz Wagner or Mo Wagner were getting into it. Prior to that, 58, 45, 64, 48. Maybe we look at the impact that Porzingis has on him. I do think, if anything, that Porzingis and Luka being available against the Thunder would make the Thunder's chances of staying competitive a little bit lower. But just for aesthetic's sake here, trying to put a number to the success or lack thereof, let's do a search on Luka without and Luka with Porzingis, so we can carry that number around with us going into the near future for Mavericks games. Are you not lower on Murray after White back to take usage? I think Murray's ceiling is still his ceiling. I don't think that changes, but obviously his floor will go down. And yeah, there are going to be games where Derek White spikes and takes away his usage. So yes, I'm lower, but I don't think it eliminates Murray's potential ceiling, because he's still a triple-double guy, right? It's not like he's scoring dependent and Derek White's going to start taking 15 of his 30 points. You know what I mean? Like, Derek White could just also be attached to his assists and stuff like that. Luka, so far this season without Porzingis on the court, has had a 37% usage rate, a 1.5 DKP points per minute, 1.4 on FanDuel. And then let's put them on the court together. That 1.5 DKP per minute goes to 1.38 and then 1.32. So a little bit of a hit here. The usage rate is still at 34%. So I'm willing to say that, a couple 30, 40 extra minutes here might stabilize those numbers a little bit closer. No matter what, 1.3 to 1.4 is nothing to shake a stick at. So I don't mind getting to Luka still. The matchup is still pretty pristine, but what we're wrestling with here that we haven't dealt with in any other game yet, or so far, or will, is the spread, 11.5-point spread in favor of the home team, Dallas Mavericks. Like I said, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're kind of like the Magic, right? Where you can pinpoint guys that are going to absorb a lot of the usage and put minutes there, but you can never bank on them staying competitive. The Magic, or excuse me, the Thunder have the 4th worst net rating in all of basketball. When it comes to offensive efficiency, the Thunder have the 2nd worst offensive efficiency in all of basketball. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks have been a top 6 defense on the season, and this is seasonal metrics, so there is some games lost in the interpretation, and a lot of that is games without Porzingis. So you could argue that they're even a better defense than this. So this is a really tough spot for the Thunder, right? Bad offense against a good defense. Good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to good people. 11.5-point spread puts enough pressure on us to worry about this game staying close. It would also put enough pressure for me to not really get too many of the Thunder with a lot of confidence. But if you game script this game staying close, you wonder how it would stay close. Well, it would be on SGA, and SGA does have some meat on the bone at his price point if he's having one of those competitive games, right? We've seen some slate-breaking performances out of him, and at 8,200 on DraftKings on a short slate, we'd take 40-plus fantasy points, and he's done that in 3 straight games. Cleveland's another tough defense that they were able to scrap long enough, strong enough for him to get to that 40-plus. And then Brooklyn at Washington, 2 defenses that definitely have areas of opportunity for improvement, and those teams were not at full strength. So put all that together, it's as closer to a coin flip than not. I'm not going to prioritize much here, but I would say at 8,200 on DraftKings, SGA probably hits my tier 3, and I might cap that at like 15-20% just to kind of see how much what my lineups look like with that, and then I would move from there. On Fanduel, Josh Giddey feels a little bit more obtainable than DraftKings. It's only $600, but I'd take that 30-plus fantasy points on Fanduel, and then if I only got to like 30 on DraftKings, I don't know, it just stings a little bit harder. Well, like I said, none of these matchups are going to pop for me, so nothing's going to be a priority play here. On the Mavericks, give me some Luka, give me some Porzingis. Porzingis on DraftKings feels like it's way too cheap, especially relative to his Fanduel price. I know Fanduel will weigh the blocks a little bit more, and Porzingis will get you those blocks. Porzingis is averaging almost 2 blocks per game. The Thunder allow over 6 blocks per game on the season, and I believe that if that's not the most, it's got to be top 2 or top 3 blocks per game allowed. OKC is allowing the 2nd most blocks per game. So Porzingis is in a really strong spot here to pay off 7,900 rather easily. And as long as we're not worried about minutes, got 28 minutes in a lopsided game. I think we can build off of that, right? 28 probably the baseline. If we can get to 30 plus, I think 40 plus fantasy points is a very true range of outcome. Last time it was just a point per minute against these Thunder. I think there's enough meat on the bone on DraftKings, so I'll take it. On FanDuel, like I said, you're going to have Bobby Portis, you're going to have Giannis Antetokounmpo, you're going to have Chris Middleton, guys like that, to where 94 Porzingis wouldn't necessarily have to be a priority in a double-digit point spread, where a median projection has him at 40. 40 is not much at 9,400, so I think it's more of a DK play for me, trying to enjoy the $1,500 discount and move from there. I don't have anything else from this game that I really like. This slate's really pushing me in isolated spots, especially on the FanDuel side. So yeah. Tribe says, bro, where can I watch your PrizePicks vids? They'll be on this channel. We did an NFL video for props over the weekend. Like I said, that in itself was kind of a pilot episode, but really what all that was I edited like 15 minutes of the 2-hour stream we did Friday night and put it together, and it was like, I thought, the most pertinent parts of the stream where we were discussing our favorite PrizePicks plays. But the plan going forward is to have a piece of content on this channel, at least on weekdays, at least 3 times a week, but probably every day, where we talk about our favorite prop picks out there based on the PrizePicks board. And the plan is to launch that on Wednesday. I'll do it tomorrow, but it's only 2 games tomorrow. And then sometimes there's small games, like today's board wasn't like full of holes. Sometimes the board looks better than other days, but that'll be on this channel. And I will probably serve that content in live form. It just seems more efficient for a more efficient use of my time to just do it live, flip a switch, and then turn off. Because on top of that video, I'll still have to do these daily streams for DraftKings and Fanduel. So Wednesday is the hopeful launch date for that. And I've reached out to a couple other guys that I've been seeing succeed on PrizePicks that are in the Discord. And I might be able to create a schedule where every stream I have a little co-host. The idea of that piece of content, 20-30 minutes, and then move on, right? But it'll be on this channel, so as long as you're subbed here, you'll get first dibs to that. We only got 2 games left on the docket tonight. We will also talk some PrizePicks here, so if you guys have already shopped some PrizePicks plays, be sure to drop them in chat. I did say I have a couple PrizePicks tickets going right now. So I'm sweating Kobe White, Karis LeVert assist. Kobe White, 16.5 real points. He's got 5. Dosunmu, I look for 4 assists. Jared Allen, 36. He's already got 14. That's nice. Garland, I got for 39 fantasy points. He already got 25. That's nice as well. I really hope LeVert can get me those assists. I thought 4.5 assists was really light without Brogdon, because he had been clearing like 6 assists per game. And then I made kind of like an in-game parlay of that Cavs game. Oof, and I need Aldridge to not break 23. But everything else is looking pretty good. So we'll try and make a board on PrizePicks, or make a ticket or something on PrizePicks here in a minute. Next game on the docket, Suns at the Spurs. Project starting 5 for the Suns: Chris Paul, Devin Booker, McCollum, Bridges, Jay Crowder, and JaVale McGee. Tragic Brunson. Taking on DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Dougie McBuckets, Keldon Johnson, and Jakob Poeltl. Am I not Poeltl enough for the Poeltl Club? We got a 227 total, 4.5 point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. I messed up Poeltl's projection. Maybe I just didn't fix the last slate, because he didn't play that last game. But we do know that DeAndre Ayton is out for this game, so that's going to clear up a couple of question marks in terms of usage spikes for the starters. It's really going to put me on a lot of Devin Booker in that mix. But let me double check the Spurs injury news and notes to see if I missed something, if I just didn't type Poeltl. Poeltl is not playing center, so Poeltl should play today. I just messed up. But we know DeAndre Ayton's out. So Ayton was listed as right ankle sprain out for this game, and we also know Kaminsky's still out. So JaVale McGee is probably the next man up here. We've seen a stretch where Jalen Johnson got a couple starts, but those were also in coincidental absences of JaVale McGee and I think Jay Crowder. So I'm projecting JaVale McGee to start here. He's only 3,700 on DraftKings. We've seen this scenario a few times where McGee starts. Sometimes he hits, sometimes he doesn't. If we look at recent history, JaVale McGee, DKP by game log without DeAndre Ayton. Let's go last 10 games. Good if I missed any tier ones. Been losing pretty bad. Depending on what site you play on. I think if you play on Fanduel today, there's a real chance that Giannis would be a tier 1 on that slate. JaVale McGee in his last 4 games without, or excuse me, his last 5 games without Ayton has exceeded 28 DraftKings points, and the low end was 15 in 22 minutes against Memphis. No matter what, we don't ever get like deep minutes out of JaVale McGee, but we know he has incredible per minute production. So yeah, there's no reason to push back on him. Should he be announced and confirmed as a starter for the Suns here, they'll probably move his projection to like 20-22, and 22 minutes at his like 1.2 per minute production would absolutely be in play. On FanDuel, you can still kind of justify him, but center only. If you like some upside at center, or you like some floor at center, there might be alternatives there. Without Ayton in this mix, let's go pull on that on-off court tool for Phoenix, and let's put the big 3 on, or excuse me, let's put Out of the big three, let's put 2 on, the Paul and Devin Booker. And let's take off DeAndre Ayton. Fanduel. Yeah, Ibsen, if you're not Fanduel, I definitely like the Bucks stack quite a bit. Bobby Portis, Giannis, Middleton, all points per dollar could probably get there coincidentally. If you can run that back with Trae Young, I think he makes the most sense. Ayton off, Paul, Devin Booker on. Devin Booker, a 31.6% usage rate, 1.32 DraftKings points per minute, almost 1.3 on FanDuel. Looking at his price point on both sites, just disrespectful. So give me into some Devin Booker for sure. 40 plus fantasy points there. I don't mind putting some Chris Paul in the mix as well. You're likely going to get a double from him, points and assists. Makes a lot of sense. And then depending on what they roll out in their front court, I'm assuming it's going to be McGee. McGee, one of his strengths is his ability to go out there and get blocks. The Spurs actually do allow a lot of blocks per game. Believe it or not, Spurs are 4th in the league in blocks per game. So yeah, we could have a block party night from JaVale McGee. A couple blocks in there for him would raise this floor on both sides, especially on FanDuel. So I like a lot. There's a lot to like from the Suns here. Cameron Johnson's questionable. If Cameron Johnson didn't play, it would just beefing up the minutes for Jay Crowder. Johnson hasn't played since January 8th. He's listed as probable. All right, so he's in the cut. He's 5,400. There was a stretch where Johnson was dropping 30 a game, but that also coincided with Jay Crowder being out. So I guess that would be closer to a coin flip in deeper field tournaments. I'd be more so just interested in Paul, Booker, McGee in the short term. And then on the Spurs side, you guys mentioned it, Derek White back. We got to wrestle with what to do with DeJounte Murray, who has come off a few slates where he's really broken things. 70 plus fantasy points has been there for him. And like I said, he's had big games with Derek White. So I'm not running to dismiss him from my player pool today. But obviously his floor and ceiling destabilizes just a little bit. In the split without Derek White, DeJounte Murray has a 27.7% usage rate, 42% assist rate, and about 1.5 fantasy points per minute. Putting him on the court with Derek White, numbers spit back a usage rate of 25%, and then $1.25. So while the numbers go down a little bit, it's still justifiable, right? $1.25 on 35 minutes still gives a shot at 40 plus, and we know standard deviation, get a good ceiling game in there, and a pace up matchup against the Spurs definitely could give us one of those 50 fantasy point to 60 fantasy point nights. I think 50 out of DeJounte Murray would mean more today on DraftKings because DraftKings does not have Giannis, Middleton, Portis, Trae Young. So maybe he's somebody I get to more on DraftKings, just trying to get to that ceiling. And then Derek White, 6,500 on DraftKings. Looking at this split, Derek White is at about a fantasy point per minute over there. And we know that he'll definitely take plenty of shots, probably double-digit shot attempts, and he'll chuck from 3 pretty liberally, 5, 7, 4 shot attempts from behind the arc last couple games. Just his second game back, you wonder about his minutes, you wonder about that COVID ramp up, but immediately an impact player, 19 real points with a couple of peripherals, 3 blocks and a steal. Like I said, a pace-up spot for the Spurs here against the Suns. So definitely think at 6,500, 30-plus fantasy points is in the wheelhouse for Derek White here. And then moving into this front court, I think Jakob Poeltl is underpriced points per dollar. So if you get 30-plus out of him against not DeAndre Ayton, I'm fine with looking at that. So a decent chunk to like here in this game, I think. And a really decent total, 227. So I'll have quite a bit from that game. We only got one game left to talk about. Before we do that, take a pause for the cause. If you guys want to hang out with me after the stream, I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. I'll probably try and get over there a little bit earlier. We'll see. Like I said, usually I try to do 2 hours before lock. Fanduel put an island hour game to start things off a little bit earlier. And I think that game's pretty easy to break down. but I'll probably be over there hanging out a little bit more. It is a holiday, and like I said, we are sweating some tickets. We'll make some more tickets. We've got Monday Night Football tonight as well. I do have projections for the showdown slate for the Rams and the Cardinals tonight, on top of the projections I'll have for NBA, my player pool, all that good stuff. If you guys want to lock into access on that, go to rundfs.com, get yourself a membership, anything that works for you, $20 to get you in for a week. Every membership comes with some built-in voucher credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. Just link your account on Fantasy Cruncher with your Run DFS account, and you'll be able to redeem a discount to a Cruncher subscription. The All-Star package, there's only a couple left of these. There was 10 total, and a couple went immediately. This is essentially supposed to be the NBA All-Star break to the baseball All-Star break, but it's an early bird special, so you guys get a little bit more bang for your buck. $329 with $100 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. So if you use that credit to Cruncher, essentially comes down to $229 for 6 months. That's nuts. So if you're really looking to get some bang for your buck, I think that's a really good deal. Go check that out. And then when you do upgrade, you want to log in, you want to hit VIP portal, and you want to get into the VIP Discord, looking a little something like this. And then we created a dedicated prize picks and props channel. And then right here in NBA chat with that little speaker icon, we'll have the voice chat before lock after the stream. So come be part of that, make some friends in the space. And let's talk about this last game. Or do you want to do prize picks first? Maybe we'll do prize picks after this game. Utah Jazz at the LA Lakers. Projects 35 for the Jazz. Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, Royce O'Neal, Rudy Gobert taking on Russell Westbrook, Malik Monk, Avery Bradley, LeBron James, and Dwight Howard. I did the morning show on Awesemo on Saturday, and I joked about LeBron James being center eligible against Jokic because we knew Frank Vogel had said that it would be matchup specific. And I said, LOL, watch this be where Frank Vogel starts, Dwight Howard, and center only LeBron James isn't actually even playing center. And that's exactly what happened, sure enough. And today he remains center only. Luckily today there's a little less beef at the center position than there was on Saturday. But still kind of laughable that LeBron James is center only on DraftKings. Hopefully that changes. I don't care he should be dual position no matter what the positions are, right? If you want to make it center guard, center forward guard, whatever it is. But LeBron James, out of any player in the league, should have dual position eligibility. So I hope they fix that going forward. Matchup wise, I talked about at the top of the show. If you guys are coming in late, Mike Conley has sat a lot of back-to-backs. He's played a couple to start the year. Mike Conley, I looked it up earlier. It was Mike Conley, DKP by game log on night 2 of a back-to-back. Let's go last 10 games. I think it was like in November and like December. There was two nights he played on a back-to-back, November 27th and December 9th. But there's also a couple back-to-backs where they rested him. So I didn't quite know what to expect from him tonight. I guess no news is good news for the potential of Mike Conley playing. But I don't know if something came out later that said Mike Conley would be limited or not playing, or if we just assume that they're managing his load. Something to keep an eye on. Last night game was pretty lopsided. So just 23 minutes there against Denver. But going from the altitude to LA, I don't know. It wouldn't stun me if that was a late reported curveball. No matter what, I think it bodes well for Donovan Mitchell against this Lakers team. Elevated in pace, bad in defense. LeBron did tweet out that he apologized to the Laker Nation and that they are going to fix things. But in the meantime, 8,200 for Donovan Mitchell. Kind of like that Devon Booker price, just seems way too low for what we might expect out of him should be double-digit shot attempts, upwards of 20, and then a couple peripherals to boot. 48 fantasy points last night, 31 real points. He's given you 30 real points in 3 of his last 4 games, and I don't know. I think against the Lakers, he's going to succeed more than he fails. So I'm going to be a pretty high on Donovan Mitchell, and I would just be like even happier if late in the night Mccollum out hit, and I would just take advantage of that. But give me Donovan Mitchell a lot, and especially on Fanduel. Rudy Gobert last night, strong game fantasy wise against the Nuggets. Jokic had a strong game in his own right, but Gobert had almost 50 fantasy points, nearly 20-20'd. And it's been every game you're gonna get 15 plus rebounds and 10 plus real points. So a walking double to give you a shot at 40 fantasy points. I don't know that a small ball Lakers lineup would necessarily run him off the court with the way that the Jazz are just kind of dedicated to letting him go. We saw a game not too long ago. I think it was against the Warriors where Gobert just stayed out there, right? Gobert. Yeah, against the Warriors, he played 35 minutes, and the Warriors played pretty small. So, if that's any indication on what their plan would be to use Gobert, it doesn't look like they necessarily give up on using Gobert, one of their better players, definitely an anchor on their defense, just because the other team has a bunch of 6'5" guys. So I'm pretty confident getting to Gobert at both sites at 86, 83. Whether or not he's up against Dwight Howard or LeBron or what have you, I still think his floor to ceiling ratio on a short slate is worth having. 40 to 50 fantasy points. I'm getting nearly 50 on FanDuel, so I'll definitely get behind that. Mitchell, Gobert for sure. Bojan Bogdanovic, cheap enough on both sides to give me a shot at 30 fantasy points. It's a 230 total. It's a really, really high total. And then looking at the Lakers, LeBron James is the guy that makes it all work. On DraftKings, so hard to justify as center eligible. If you like a couple of the other center options for a little bit cheaper to raise the floor, we know Siakam's going to play 40 minutes. Gobert in this game probably gives us 40, 50 fantasy points. Nurkic is still a guy with not a lot of depth behind him. No Zeller, no Larry Nance. Jakob Poeltl's probably underpriced for what his 35 to 45 fantasy points is. If Bamba's minutes limit went up a little bit, 5,600 might be too low on him. So there's plenty of viable plays, and we talked about JaVale McGee. We know people love value McGee at 3,700. So I could see a real problem with getting to LeBron James at a high clip on this slate, just because he's center only, right? Raw points mean stuff, but at the more shallow the position, the better the raw points are. And I think center's not necessarily that shallow points per dollar. So that's an unfortunate situation, I think, if you wanted to get to LeBron. But if you think LeBron's still worth a util spot here and there, I think he is. I have him as a top 2, top 3 fantasy point scorer on DraftKings. But that's only 5x on his price point. I still think I'm getting a better bargain out of Gobert, Nurkic, guys like that. So I'll be wrestling with that. I probably get to like 20% LeBron on DK just to say I'm there. And on FanDuel, I get to a little less LeBron, ironically, because I have Giannis Antetokounmpo. But I might get to a couple lineups that tries to get both of them in there. The Utah Jazz, they'll drill about the most threes per game, right? We look at 3 points per game. Utah Jazz makes the most in the league. So if you believe in them hitting their threes today, maybe pushing the pace a little bit, who's going to fire back from downtown? Well, I think it's one guy with any type of efficiency, and that's going to be Malik Monk. He's about 6K on DraftKings. Last game they got blown out. Prior to that laugher, Malik Monk was probably the highlight of this offense and one of the highlights of this team outside of LeBron James. 20 plus real points in 3-4 of his last 6 games. So I don't mind looking at him in tournaments as a run back option too. Maybe some Donovan Mitchell exposure and then LeBron James. I think on FanDuel, Russell Westbrook is continuing to be at what I call why can't I quit you pricing, where at 9,400 I understand the pushback, and I understand even at 80, close to 8K on Fanduel, he hasn't quite been a model of consistency, but you just know that upside's still there. It's going to be very volatile, but if I had to give up 10% equity to be at or above the field on him at that price, then I'm going to do it. I do think at the 8K range, pre-flop, I like a Devon Booker, I like a Donovan Mitchell a little bit more, but 8,100, man, that's a really nice price on Westbrook if he starts playing a little bit better. And to his credit, I know we hate on him, and it's fun to dog on his shots on Twitter, but to his credit, the turnovers really haven't been there. 1 turnover in his last 3 games, 4 turnovers in his last 6 games. You want to see some more points. The peripherals are down. He's starting to play a little bit more real basketball, a little less Russell Westbrook basketball, but also in games that are staying more competitive. The minutes have still been up there. You just want to see him hit a little bit more shots, and these shots are, these are just bad misses, top of the backboard type stuff, all iron type stuff. I don't know. I trust Russell Westbrook to have better days at this price point ahead. If it's not tonight, I'm not saying he's going to crush it tonight. I just think the opportunity at 8,100 is still pretty great for what we know his upside can be. And even if he just got to like a median 40, which is about what my projection is saying on DK, almost at 47 on FanDuel, I'm going to be a buyer in that. Lot to like here though. I'll have a lot of Jazz exposure, a lot of Mitchell Gobert, a little bit of Bojan. I probably don't get to Conley here, and then on the Lakers side, a little bit of LeBron, a little bit of Malik Monk, and then we've got to keep an eye on Carmelo. Carmelo's missed a few games. If Melo can't go, he represents another bit of scoring off the bench. So maybe you elongate on those Monk minutes a little bit more. Maybe you look at a THT, but I really just want to get to Malik Monk. And I also think if Melo can't go, it makes him more privy to having to use Dwight Howard. You know what I mean? Because Melo can stretch out that court a little bit more when LeBron's at the 5. Low back tightness. This was 2 straight games. All right. So if Melo can't go, you might see them use LeBron more as a natural forward here than center. I don't think I would get to Dwight Howard even if I knew he was starting right now. I can't feel that great about his minutes, and I just look at JaVale McGee for a couple $100 more, right? That's our slate. What do you guys got on this one? We'll do some PrizePicks shopping, and then we'll matriculate out of here. Let me go look at some scoring. Can we play Smith and McGee on FanDuel? Did Jalen Smith's price go down since Ayton's been back? I would assume it went down, but did it go down enough? Because him and McGee together would soak up 4K, almost 10K against the Spurs. I think it's possible. Biyombo's still there as well. So it's not like they don't have no centers. Let me look at and then that last game, he might have benefited from no Cameron Johnson a little bit. Let me see. Phoenix. Am I blind? San Antonio. Even this happens. There we go. Last game, Jalen Smith played a little bit, 14 minutes, but they did have Ayton. McGee fouled out in 15 minutes because, of course, he did. Ayton got injured early. So Ayton got injured in the first quarter, didn't come back. JaVale McGee came in and almost insta-fouled out, got in early foul trouble, but did overlap with Jalen Smith a little bit. But I feel like that's that's probably because Cameron Johnson was out. Jalen Smith had 6 fouls too. What the heck? Maybe that's not like the best game to look at. What about the game prior? Ayton played 29 minutes. JaVale McGee 16 minutes. Jalen Smith played 17 minutes with about a minute in garbage time. So 15 to 16 minutes. I don't think I would play them together. I think I would sell out for true ceiling. Like, I guess there's a world where they could coexist and be average. But I feel like if we're looking for pure ceiling, like if McGee has that 30, 40 fantasy point game, Jalen Smith probably has a more neutral game, and then probably vice versa. So I don't think I'd play them together. But I guess there's not enough like sample size for that to be like a hard rule. So like if you wanted to play them together and go opposite, like do it. But I don't think I will. I know I won't. Westbrook shot more airball. He does. I don't think I've played Westbrook in like 3 weeks. Even while he has. But I also think like he's changing, and I do think, and I don't mean like changing in a good way for fantasy. I think from a real life standpoint, like he's feeling the pressure, feeling the heat. LeBron James is feeling it, seeing it. So you're definitely gonna see a new look Westbrook, and we're seeing it. A little less craziness, but the shots suck. Trey over 2.5 threes. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we had, right? We had. Let's make a like. You guys want to make a 4-pick? I don't know if we can force 4, but we talked about a couple picks on Prize. By the way, PrizePicks.com. If you guys aren't on it, you haven't seen what the hype is about, man. We are loving some Prize Picks. We are. So if you guys haven't signed up yet, and you want to show me some love, you want to show me a little bit of support. If you sign up using my code, they go a long way in supporting the stream, supporting the site. So sign up using code GUNDACKER, and they will match your first deposit up to $100, instant credit, no slow drip. Get that in there. Go to PrizePicks.com, get signed up, and then let's make a couple of educated picks here. We got some time. So earlier I talked about Trae Young over 2.5 threes as something that I like. The Hawks are implied for 113 real points. The Bucks allow the second most threes per game. There's no Drew Holiday. 2 of the top 4 3-point shooters of the Hawks aren't there. Bogdan Bogdanovic is out. Cam Reddish got traded. Trae Young leads the team in 3-point shots per game. So I'm kind of digging Trae Young over 2.5. So we'll start our card with Trae Young over 2. What else you guys got? Like a little community card here. Devin Booker without Ayton. Do we want a little action on that? He's got a 30% usage rate in the split without Ayton. I got him for 43.8 Fanduel points. So let's just look at the Suns lines without Ayton in the mix. They got him for 25.5 real points, 39.5 fantasy points, and I got him for 43. What about scoring wise? Devin Booker, real points by game log without DeAndre Ayton. Let's go last 10 games. How often is he? But I usually don't like to bet aggressive numbers like 25.5, but he is averaging 23.5 on the season. So we're only asking for another bucket really at that point. 11, 33, 24, 23. All right. So I don't know that I want to force this one. What else is on the board for the Suns here? Rebounds on Booker. Chris Paul. Is that 4 rebounds? That's interesting. What's that? What's our split on? First, let's DeJounte. $1.25. DeJounte. So let's do some math here. Calculator. So let's say 1.25 times. Let's give DeJounte 34 minutes. That gives me 42.5 fantasy point projection, just baseline. And I got him for 53 just based on other peripherals, 2.1 steals per game. So I got him at 53 fantasy points. What is DeJounte at on here? 47. That's not a big enough margin that I drool over. What are you guys thinking? Gonna go with 100%. LeBron King says something. We better believe it. I can get behind that. Got 50. Yo, Kuzma, man. Y'all, people keep saying Kuzma's regressing, right? Like this can't sustain, and he just keeps doing it. Chris Paul 9 assists. 10 point a game. 10 assists a game. The 227 total. And in this split, Not this split. We'll do that split. Chris Paul has a Devon Booker. Take off Ayton. I guess I don't love Chris Paul not having his usual center, but Chris Paul has a 37% assist rate. Yeah, I don't like going after these big numbers. But there is some room there for his assists. You like Nurkic's number? He projects to have Nurkic at 49, and he's at 39 on their site against the Magic. I got the magic. I can get behind that. Wish that pace a little bit faster, but I like it. Let's look at the Bucks side real quick. I've been leaning on like same game stuff to like correlate the plays a little bit more. Chris Middleton over 2.5 threes was something that was interesting to me. The only pushback to me on Middleton here is Grayson Allen being in the mix, but I didn't hate 2.5 threes for Middleton. Also don't hate Grayson Allen over 10.5 real points. Since coming back into the fold here without Drew Holiday, he's one of the true point guards, right? So Grayson Allen Dkp by game log let's go last 5 games. I think he's hitting over that in like 3 of his last 4. 18, 15, 16. There's a 5 in 27 minutes against Detroit, but he still took 11 field goal attempts. So you probably need to shoot 30 to 40% to get over that. And that Detroit game was on the wrong side of a blowout. So let's go by game log without Drew Holiday last 10 games. Just to double correlate the investigation. 18, 15, 18, 12, 13, 19, 14. So he missed it once, and that was like an anomalic 21 minutes where they got smoked. So I'm thinking Grayson Allen over 10. You guys want to co-sign that one? We'll do that. 10.5 over. 10.5 over. And then Donovan Mitchell or Jazz. Let's get some Jazz action later in the night. I wish the points was a little bit lower. He has dropped 30 plus and a couple more, but like I hate betting high point totals. It's annoying. Rudy Gobert fantasy points is interesting. I think I have him close to 50 fantasy points, so I do get a little bit of it. Yeah, I got him at 50 on PrizePicks scoring. So that's a little bit more interesting to me. It's asking a whole lot. Conley under 27 seems interesting on a back-to-back. But my luck, he'll hit it. But I'm thinking that's the move. Night 2 of a back-to-back. Usually soak up 1 million minutes as it is anyway. Portis over 33. I could get behind that. I like Chris Paul fantasy under. No Ayton to dish out to. I mean, his assist rate's still pretty high. And JaVale McGee's a dunker in his own right. Late to the party. What at Roscoe? What do you think about Gabe Vincent today? I really didn't have an opinion on Gabe Vincent with Butler there, with Tyler Hero there. Like I wouldn't be against it, but it's not something that like stuck out to me. Jaren Jackson Jr. headed to the locker room. Oh no. I guess I'm glad I didn't take that Brandon Clark under. Because I was going to. Bojan 4.5 against the Lakers. Giannis over 7 free throws. Sean Wright is the referee chief. He's 3rd in average fouls per game. Look at that skimmer with the. I like that skimmer. I like that. It's a lot of free throws, but I like it. LeBron at 30.5 real points. That's pretty stout. Malik Monk is at 16.5 real points. Denver was a blowout. Memphis is a good defense. Every other game he's gotten over this number since kind of like really being a part of the starting lineup. So I'm a little bit interested in that. We talked about how the Jazz lead the league in three-pointers made per game. So if you want to fire back a little bit, I think Malik Monk is probably their best long-range shooter. So that kind of stands out to me as a potential play. Speaking of 16.5, I had 16.5 over on Kobe White in this Memphis game. How's that looking for me? I got 23 points. Kobe White has 8 of them, so I'm on pace. I also had AO at 3.5 assists, and he's got 3 already, so that's looking good. And has LeVert gotten any assists yet? LeVert has no assists. That's a problem. How's our nets in game looking? 14 points on Kyrie. I got him over what we need 23 on him. That's looking good. Garland's about to hit his friggin' over in this quarter. So I think we need LeVert to get his assists, and we're on track to make another quick $100 on PrizePicks, right? And by the way, guys, if you're wondering about what I'm talking about, I actually shared that card in the Discord since making this channel. In-game parlay kind of, right? $10, 10x. Kyrie's on pace. Aldridge might be a problem. The last check, Aldridge was not doing the worst. Oh, he's down to 8. So in the third quarter. So as long as Aldridge doesn't like go nuts. But this new channel that we implemented has been pretty active. So even if you're just looking to tail some action here. And the Jared Allen, what is Jared Allen doing? Jared Allen's at 23. So we need him to pick it up, but I think he's fine. He's got a little bit more points because of blocks on PrizePicks scoring. Anyway, you guys got any more DFS questions? I don't want to bore you with prop hunting, but like I said, if you're into the prop hunting aspect of this with a little bit more analytical approach behind the plays, not just he's done this in 3 of his last 4, that's a little basic. You want usage rate, stuff like that, look out for the prop show hopefully on Wednesday, and then we'll keep it moving. But we'll knock out all the questions. We got a little bit of time to burn. Okeke or Jalen for value? I'm probably lean Okeke just because I think no matter what, without Wendell Carter Jr., he's got a strong chance to start. And Jalen, we're kind of hoping that he still gets a decent chunk of minutes because Cameron Johnson is back. A little less overlap, in the forward spot. He does likely get backup center minutes, but they also have Bismack Biyombo. So I just feel like it's a safer minute projection on Okeke unless they gave us something like Jalen Johnson starting, but I don't think that would be the case. So probably Okeke there. Any good value? Javal McGee is probably your best DraftKings value. And then on Fanduel, outside of the early game, which has a lot of upside, on Fanduel, I just feel like Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell are way too cheap for their usage rates and their matchups today. Smash some likes. I didn't even think about the likes. We're only at 51 likes. Hey, but for real though, only 130 people viewing. I get it. Today's MLK Day. There's a lot of basketball going on now. There's a lot of content out there, NFL streams, stuff like that. So, little less viewership than normal. So you guys are the real ones. I appreciate you guys still giving me a little bit of your time to talk some DFS. Wednesday should be a much bigger show though. I think, what did we say? It's like 13 games Wednesday. Tomorrow, I don't think we're dual stream tomorrow. Is that okay with y'all? Tomorrow is just late lock, T-Wolves at Knicks, Pistons at Warriors, right? I mean, come on. But Wednesday, it's wide open. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 games. So we'll try and launch that prop pick show, and then we'll try and we'll do that the 2-hour, 3 p.m. Eastern DFS show. Thursday's back down to 3 games. Then Friday is back up again. Saturday's a small slate, but we should have football that day. Keep us occupied. Sunday's another big slate. Sunday's usually my day off, and so on and so forth. So next week, looking like it's going to pick up a little bit with the maybe the Tuesdays and Thursdays for a bit might be a little smaller. No, I don't know, but probably no show tomorrow, and that'll give me some prep time for the graphics packages I need to design for some of the new content. Utah blowing the Lakers out. You think so? I mean, it's not impossible, but Utah is on a back-to-back coming out of Denver. If there's any team that should be able to pull that one off, it is Utah. They're used to dealing with elevation and then or altitude and then leaving it. But do you like AR-15? AR-15. Remind me on who the FAR-15 is. Austin Reeves. What up, Big Bino? Ain't no way you used to price. What's ain't no way to use Prize Picks in Ohio, so that sucks. But does Ohio have sports betting? Ohio sports betting. I've noticed a lot of states that don't have that Prize Picks is not in have sports betting. The sports betting is legal in Ohio. No stores have launched yet, so I don't know. But if Prize Picks isn't coming, or if your state doesn't have Prize Picks but still has a sports book, you can still use the content to bet on the prop. It's just those props are individually taxed at a different rate than Prize Picks is just kind of like straight up, whatever happens. Now, a lot of times you'll get better deals on a sports book, and Prize Picks also benefits from you having to have like a parlay factor to your cards. Whereas on sports books, you could just bet on an individual prop. So there's still going to be some utility out of the Prize Picks content, even if you can't use Prize Picks. And I'll package it and advertise it as more of a player prop show with us focusing on the Prize Picks lines. You know what I mean? Who gets the most playing time for Utah in a blowout? Gay and Ingles? Nah. I mean, like maybe, but man, you're really holding on to that blowout, huh? I don't think Gay and Ingles are kind of like vets here, so I guess it would depend on who's active here. I think Clarkson would get a decent chunk of run. I think Gay and Ingles would still get run here, but I don't think that they run their vets into the ground. You might see Pascal pick up more minutes. I don't know. I'm not personally projecting a blowout, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised with the way the Lakers have been playing. Mitchell and Middleton on Fanduel. I think they're both great plays. I would say Middleton's ceiling could suffer because of Giannis, whereas if the Jazz have a big game, it's probably because of Mitchell's ceiling. So if I'm selling out for pure ceiling, it's probably Mitchell. If that lineup has Giannis, I will also probably go Mitchell. But if it didn't have Giannis, it might make some sense to go against the field and get to Middleton, not Giannis, something like that. But probably Mitchell for me in the 1v1. I mean, Wagner plays more minutes without Carter. Yes, but the Magic are so hard to read. Just looking at their last two games. First of all, last game, Mo Wagner played a lot of the fourth quarter mop up crap, and then he got into that scuffle with Luka Doncic. None of the starters played meaningful minutes in the fourth quarter, so I think like it's easy to walk away thinking that Mo Wagner just naturally plays more minutes, and I think I don't think that's a crazy statement, but I also wouldn't like hold my breath on Mo Wagner playing a ton of minutes again, closing out the fourth quarter in that Hornets game. That was also a weird scenario where Chuma Okeke didn't touch the court in the fourth quarter. Robin Lopez, the starting center, didn't touch the court in the fourth quarter. The Magic are really unpredictable when it comes to second halves because their offense is so bad that they end up on the wrong side of blowouts quite often, and there's not really a lot of rhyme or reason into the results. Right, earlier this year we saw a couple of RJ Hampton games that he kept blowing up in the fourth quarter. Well, it's because they kept getting blown out. So in a way, you have to bank on a blowout. But could he get more minutes just because Wendell Carter's out? Yes, but I don't think that's as safe of a statement 1-to-1 without some context. You know what I mean? Clarkson revenge like that. Austin Reeves. It was Austin Reeves. I knew it. Everyone needs a rest for the grind. Yeah. Yesterday was a nice little break, but I don't know. Usually, 2-game slate. Y'all don't need me on a 2-game slate, and it'll just give me more time to get ready for Wednesday. Moliker says, "What can I say? I'm a Detroit fan. I love the city and the never give up attitude." Nice. Hey man, I respect that, Moliker. Yo, I got your 6, man. I appreciate that sub, man. Welcome to the channel. And if you're out there lurking, you're not sub, hit that sub button. We were less than 10 subs away from 5,900. So now we're about 10 subs away from 5,900. So that'll make us on that push to 6K subs, so we're really close, and we're actually on pace to get that. I don't know by February 1, but I think if we double down on this prop content, I think we could get it by February 1. We would need 110 subscribers, and we're at like 130 new subs this month already. So we're on pace. You think the Lakers game stays close? Personally, I do. And I think, like I said, if they okie doke this with Mike Conley being out on a back-to-back later, the Utah Jazz defensive efficiency goes backwards a little bit more. So I'm just going to trust Vegas 4.5 point spread, Lakers at home, Jazz on a back-to-back, and the Lakers, playing a little bit more. And Inspired LeBron's a dangerous one. I know it's been the same thing all year. We're going to change, but I don't think it's a blowout. Even if it's like a 10, 15 point final, I don't think it's a blowout. So I'm going to be making lineups as if it stays close. Need your help on that because I'm lost. I still grabbed the props that I would have picked and hit. I'm about ready to move to make much money. Now, Bino, I feel that. I would say individual prop betting is a little bit tougher because, like I said, it's not 1-to-1, right? Sometimes you have to pay some vig on a prop where, like, I don't know, let's say I liked Karis LeVert over 4.5 assists or whatever today. Well, I'm getting it 1-to-1 in theory on PrizePicks, even though I'm not, because I have to parlay it and get more stuff to happen. But like if you were to get that on a sports book, that might be something that's like minus 170, meaning you wouldn't get $1 on $1. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit tougher on sports books to make a linear profit on prop bets if you're brand new to it, because some prop bets just really wouldn't have the same value. And I don't know, as a rule of thumb, if I'm just going to bet isolated props, I don't want to get that far off of minus 110, 120, right? Even if it's really likely, sure. But like once I get to like closer to minus 200, I just don't think I need to do it. So I don't, or I wouldn't. Lakers lost by 40 to Denver at home. Gun. Utah definitely blowing these guys out. I mean, Aaron, that's like that's not untrue, but we can't. That's not fair, I can look at every team and probably point at one game where they got blown out. So then this team should do it if that happened. You know what I mean? It's basketball, ebbs and flows, streaks and knots. So the Jazz got blown out. You know what I mean? Like the Nuggets get blown out. Like every team gets blown out every now and then. Lakers are just definitely bad on defense. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but we can't 1-to-1, right? We can't say, because this happened once, this should happen. You know what I mean? Because it's just not the same. But I don't think you're crazy to think it could be a blowout. The Lakers have definitely been bad. How are the Bucks against the three? The Bucks give up the second most threes in the league behind the Charlotte Hornets. Any late swaps we need to keep in mind for the late games? I would say it like I said, I think if Mike Conley wasn't going to play, that would already be out by now. But like I said, all year long, we've only seen him play 2 back-to-backs this year, and they were to start the season. Past that, like there's not really a piece of news that I'm hanging on. If we got more definitive news on like a CJ McCollum minutes expectation from like a Chauncey Billups quote or something like that, or Bam Adebayo, like maybe that would help us sway a seesaw or something like that. But right now, there's really not anything I would lean on too much. So no, maybe Javal McGee, make sure he starts. You know what I mean? I guess that'll be it, right? Twitter.com/Gundacker. I'm hitting that Discord and sweat some of these PrizePicks cards that I got going on. But I would love to see you guys in that Discord. Go sign up. I think we still have I think there's a promo code we haven't taken off yet. I want to say it's WILD. So coupon code WILD. And since you guys hung out with me, you deserve 10% off. WILD, right? Yeah, WILD is still active. So if you want 10% off anything that's up right now, coupon code WILD, WILD, as in Wild Card Weekend, is still active. And then jump in that Discord. But I guess that's going to do it for me, guys, man. I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out with me, giving me a little bit of your Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day to everyone out there. Take a minute to maybe tell a young person in your life about his importance to our day-to-day life. And then let's enjoy the night, man. Enjoy some basketball, enjoy some football. Odell Beckham, let's get it done, Odell. And let's make some props. If you're on PrizePicks, I do like Kyler Murray over 35 rushing yards and Zach Ertz over 5 receptions as well, man. I appreciate you guys as always, man. I'll catch you guys on Wednesday afternoon. Bunch of content coming Wednesday. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.